And I've had several people come up to me and say how fabulously you've dialogued with them. So I thought, I know we've come up with some questions about how our conference was, but I'm not sure Rob gave us enough of an impression of the program you're in, the Student Voice Advocate Program. So maybe one or two of you could just describe what it's been like to be a Student Voice Advocate and how you've gotten trained. Does one or a couple of you want to?
So, hi, I'm Zach.
We didn't know that, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
It's all over the internet.
I heard. So, the Advocate Program, we went to a 3-day camp kind of thing, and it was during the summer, and we basically got trained in how to make our ideas come true and how to get them into the administrators and school board, and just kind of projecting our voices into the schools. So what each of us did was we came up with an idea, and there were different, some had to do with technology, some had to do with just basic school stuff, one person established a student government, and that was their job. So they all took those, and now it's our year project that we're going to establish those into our school. And really, it's given us all, I can speak on behalf of all of my friends, that we have a voice now. I mean, obviously, we're speaking in front of all of y'all, and we wouldn't have had this opportunity if the iSchool Advocate Program wasn't a thing. So our voice is definitely out there, and it is working, and I've learned so much from y'all, and we all have learned so much from y'all during this program. And it's just been a great opportunity for all of us.
So one related question. You have a lot of districts from all over the country in the room. Somebody else take on the question. If they're thinking about whether to start this program, what advice would you give them about whether to do it or how to do it? Should they have, you hope more districts have a Student Voice Advocate Program, and why?
I think it's really important for districts to have this. Advice would be take a small group of students first and then work on them so they can be more quality instructors for the next generations. And I think this gave us a huge voice, and it gave us so many other opportunities. And so we've also made really good friends. And so we've taken all of this and made ourselves known, and now we can take all the student frustrations and give them to the teachers, and the teacher frustrations back to the students. And so it really makes us messengers, and it makes us understand it better. So we're happier to learn when we have a voice on how we learn.
So you guys have been here through the whole day, and you were aware that we were kind of interested in your aha moment for the day. And I heard that some of you had some really good ones already in mind, where it really hit you. So do you want to start with your aha moment?
Yeah, I can start. I think my aha moment of the day was the fact that school is very quantitative and fact-based, and you learn unit by unit and assignment by assignment, and you never have qualitative learning in the classroom. And I think that's a very important aspect to have in education, because real life involves empathy and emotions and qualitative facts. So qualitative observations for me were my aha moment.
So my aha moment was, it touches on the behind the scenes type of stuff, which was definitely really interesting to see. I'm actually the daughter of a teacher, and so I do get to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, but this was a different take on it because we were talking about everything that I'm super interested in. Like, this is something that I'm passionate about. So the main thing that hit me was that we always think, as students and people who witness this, and this happens to you, we always feel like we're kind of getting shafted. Like, we always notice these issues and we kind of go, well, that's not how it should be. It was awesome to see that many of the teachers completely agreed. They saw it as well, and they were just kind of sitting there going, hey, you know, we get you. That's it. Like, we understand that you don't feel like you're getting the most out of your education as you could be, and it's just kind of cool to see that.
Hello, my name is Laura. Today, I was completely shocked by the enlightenment that I received from this conference. During one of the sessions, I made the connection, one of the administrators, made the connection. I was talking about the school world and the real world and how we're trying to integrate them together. But he mentioned, the school world, it is part of the real world. You're in school and it is part of the real world. And this conference and just being able to close the gap between what we do learn in school and the skills we will need to, put forth in our life after school truly just opened up my mind to, we want to learn more about what we can use to succeed, and this is the whole point of the conference, is like how we can change the school system, how we can change testing to prepare our students for their future, and that truly enlightened me.
Any more aha moments that you want to share?
I think I spent a while talking to one of the superintendents, and we stood there talking for so long, and she understood all my frustrations, and she was telling me like all the things that I could do as a student and all the things that I could like propose to my fellow students and make it known and then fix the problems, which I didn't really know how to do, and coming to this conference showed me that teachers are really supporting student voice and they want to listen, which is really reassuring as a student, seeing that teachers actually want to listen to us and we're not just talking to an empty crowd. So it was really nice knowing that.
Hi. Kind of going off of what Logan said, I noticed a sort of recurring theme throughout all of the programs that I watched and went to, and that was empathy. And they were all talking about inspiring empathy in your students and being empathetic towards them and having your students be empathetic towards each other and just all of this empathy, right? And
the place is dripping with empathy.
And that's kind of whenever I realized that school and emotions are kind of two completely disconnected entities, and that learning is a lot easier whenever you're making personal connections to what you're learning. And I think that definitely, my aha moment was realizing that empathy in school should definitely mix.
So let's shift focus a little. We hadn't budgeted for applause after every comment, but I guess we'll take it. But so here, let's shift it just a little, which is, I know part of what you wanted to do was take ideas back. So what is the idea that you're leaving with? I may be more, but why don't you share with us your favorite idea that you want to take back to your district? Anybody who wants to go first? You want to go? Go ahead. We'll go down.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you feeling ambivalent about this?
A little.
All right, go ahead. You ready?
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So one of my ideas that I took, I don't quite remember what the conference was called, but I do remember sitting with Laura and Zach at a little table of adults, and someone at another table had said that what they do at their school or their district, or I'm not quite sure how specific it was Shark Tank High School Edition. So whoever does that, or whoever was the one that said it, you're probably sitting there going, oh my gosh, I said that.
Is there anybody here that is willing to own up to it?
That's Minnetonka.
Is it Minnetonka?
Okay, thank you. I really liked it because that was a chance for students to come up with ideas. There was no rubric, there weren't any rules. It was seriously just, hey, do what you feel like doing, work on it, figure it out. You know, if it's something that you have to make a prototype for, do that. If it's still an idea, do that, and present it to us. And then you get feedback and you get all kinds of stuff to see if that really does work. I thought it was super cool because it's super awesomely creative.
Well, Well, as was said, this whole conference is about that big issue of how are we going to create an innovative learning environment which allows for testing that shows improvement within our students. And when I was at the Step 21 project, little conference area, they put a great emphasis on the new, a method of backwards planning as to, this is a huge conflict and we need to tackle it on, but we can't just, it's not something that you can just, let's change the entire system, one day. That's not how it works. And so they took the mission and they worked backwards, we're gonna put an input and then we're gonna have an output, and that output will have an impact, and that impact will officially, meet the purpose of our mission. And by taking the mission and working backwards to, what do we want the impacts to be, and then what are the outputs that have to happen in order for the impact to occur, and then the input that occurs with the output, that gives us a, a basis as to how we as students can start to build this, build this change. This is like a little basis of how we can create a new educational system.
Fabulous. By the way, can I just tell you, for you to have picked up the value of that methodology is in one day is unbelievable. We've had discussions for 3 or 4 years. I think you've just had a big impact on the room, because there's been a lot of us that have been slower to come to the value of the input-output impact model that you have, so it's glorious to see.
I think what...
The reason it's a delay is they have to turn on.
Okay. So I think that what impacted me the most is how passionate all of you are for curriculum and changing the curriculum so that it's individualized and it's personalized for each student. And that's what stuck with me the most, because it was a recurring thing, how everything in the school, you're trying to change, basically, everything in the school individualized. And that's the main goal at EdLeader21, I'm guessing, is that it's to individualize education for the learner and to help them reach their goals. And now, y'all can attack it from, y'all can attack it from higher up down, and we can attack it from students up. And there are teachers in the middle who are also very passionate about that, and soon that will be the individualized learning, because if we're all coming from different directions within the school, it'll change real quickly.
Going off of what Zach said, I went to the creating a coaching future culture. So we were talking about that and how there's coaches and then there's teachers and then there's students. And then I asked on who would be a coach in our campus, and I've noticed that some of us work really closely with coaches, but not all students get that opportunity. And I think it would be really cool if students could work with coaches and see who teach teachers, and then be able to teach teachers also, as far as technology goes, and share all the things that we know, so we can swap knowledge instead of just getting teachers to give us knowledge. And swapping it would make it more effective for all students instead of just retaining knowledge and then regurgitating it. So.
We have another one? Another comment?
I learned at the improvement science